Often touted as the smartest man in the world, Ozymandias is a force to be reckoned with. From genetically modifying animals to idolizing Ramses II, Adrian Veidt is a man of big dreams coupled with big enough means to bring them into reality. Hello everyone, and on today's episode of Watching the Watchmen, we are going to take a closer look at Adrian Veidt, also known as Ozymandias, the mastermind behind many of the problems in Watchmen. Ozymandias was part of the attempt to rectify crime busters, so he's been a superhero for a while. Ozymandias' superpower being that of the smartest man in the world, and he's got the track record to back it. He was orphaned around age 17, where he committed himself to proving he could amass his own wealth. To start this off, he donated all inheritances that his wealthy parents left him. Since starting from scratch, he has become a superhero, company owner, and even more well-read. In this story, we know Ozzy as a retired superhero. He claims he could foresee the government outlawing vigilantes and decided to retire from crime fighting and cash out on his masked persona. He also owns various companies. In the movie, we hear a lot about his energy company, and in the book, he is mainly associated with toy companies. He is a fairly open-minded man who is always looking to perfect his plan and listen to new viewpoints. This does not mean he takes anything anyone says as truth, but rather he critically thinks about others' viewpoints to see if he himself is missing something. So if Ozzy is basically a self-made billionaire who used to fight crime, what's he doing in Watchmen since he's, retired? Since he is retired, for the first little bit of the story, he's almost a fringe character. Eventually, through a turn of events, we discover he's the one behind many of the major problems that propel this story forward. Although he does claim to be doing these things for the good of humanity and to try and save the world from self-annihilation. He's the reason Dr. Manhattan's friends are sick, the comedian is murdered, and citizens of major cities are slaughtered. Ozzy has a different way of looking at the world, and it's expressed through much of his thoughts, actions, and dialogue. There's a couple snippets from Adrian that I think really capture the depth of his mindset. Ozymandias is primarily known for a couple things: his unbelievable willpower, his intelligence, and his fascination with ancient worlds. In the ancient world, speed was always associated with intelligence. So this subset of his personality covers his claim that he's the smartest man in the world. These two traits, willpower and intelligence, are pretty much always in tandem when talking about Adrian, and you can hear it when he speaks. In the book, during an interview with a reporter, he says, "You get to be a superhero by believing in the hero within you and summoning him or her forth by an act of will. By applying what you learn and ordering your thoughts in an intelligent manner, it is possible to accomplish almost anything." This quote is chock full of self-belief, but it also leaves room for the unknown. In the last line, when he says it is possible to accomplish almost anything, he does not speak in absolutes because he's aware that there are things that he doesn't know. He's got a healthy dose of open-mindedness within him to allow for other things to enter into his vision. For example, when the comedian points out the flaw in his plan, he doesn't get upset and start hating the comedian. On the contrary, he actually respects the comedian more. But to see how Ozymandias' mentality manifests in a day-to-day manner, there's a quote on page 322 of the graphic novel where we see Ozzy's observation skills on display. First impressions: oiled muscle man with machine gun. Cut to pastel bears, Valentine hearts. Juxtaposition: a wish fulfillment, violence, and infantile imagery. Desire to regress, be free of responsibility. This all says war. We should buy accordingly. But sir, we have never bought into munitions. Of course not. You're ignoring the subtext. Increased sexual imagery, even in the candy ads. It implies an erotic undercurrent, not uncommon in times of war. Remember the baby boom? So, should we buy into the major erotic video companies? That's short term. Also, we should negotiate controlling shares in selected baby food and maternity good manufacturers. I think I'm ready to begin recording now. Through imagery, he's understanding where the future trajectory is going, and he does this all story long. Ozzy is always looking for the big picture and the most accurate big picture.
I needed to match his accomplishments. And so I resolved to apply.
He really does try to do good, and his logic supports his conclusion. Whether you agree with it or not is another story, but his actions follow his well-thought-out insights. He's a man of willpower, insight, and accuracy, and he's always one step ahead.